here, which I even condensed best I could because she has a lot to say. Cynthia reported to me the weaponized warfare from the DOJ started with a lie in its very first sentence of the case presented against her. The DOJ couldn't even give current, actual events of that day, though Cynthia could prove otherwise. She believes American citizens have the right to go to the capital of our beautiful country, peacefully and civilly protest the wrongs of government as she did on January 6th. Cynthia was prosecuted and thrown into a medium to high security federal prison for 4 months for a misdemeanor of walking through an open door, passing 13 active officers who failed to be good Samaritans that day and left the building in under 6 minutes. During her long drawn-out persecution, Cynthia not only supported and cared for her cancer-stricken husband, she took on an advocate role with the J6ers community, volunteering as a support operator, co-writing training manuals, fundraising for other J6ers, and ending a hand in times of need. In addition, she opened her own home to traveling J6ers who needed a peaceful place to stay during their prosecution. She expresses her thanks to Donald Trump for rising above evil and pardoning the innocent J6ers, as everything that occurred that day could have and should have been prevented. Let's warmly welcome Cynthia Price.
Wow, so how do I wrap all of this up? First of all, let's give a gratitude to our J6ers that are here today. Man, how do I follow all this up? So I was there on January 6th, as maybe some of you were there. I hear that a lot. I go to places and I'm like, I was on January 6th, and they're like, we were there too. So, you know, the whole thing was horrible, you know. The repercussions of all of it was horrible, but the day was beautiful. The day was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. There was so many patriots there. That was absolutely amazing. And I got charged with misdemeanor charges. Literally just being there. So we showed up. We didn't even get to the Capitol till 2:45. Okay? And we were there. The door was open. There was a... Leave it to our conservatives to have a single file line going into the Capitol. It was literally a ride to a Hershey Park roller coaster. So we stood in line to get into the Capitol, apparently. And when we got in there, they said, hey, you got to turn around and go back. So that's exactly what we did. I got there at 2:45, I left at 4 o'clock, okay? So it was just a walk around to see what happened. You know, not necessarily a big deal. Like, we didn't see all the things that you guys see on TV. Like, the Capitol's a big place. If you haven't been to DC, to the Capitol, it's actually a really big area. We didn't see any of that violence and any of that stuff going on. So we left, whatever, not a big deal. We didn't do anything wrong. I mean, we just walked up, walked in, walked out, and bye. Going back to Emmitsburg, Maryland. Look. So, when I come home from bringing my son to the airport, my other son says, hey, the FBI was here. What? Oh, you're joking, right? This is a joke? He said, no, here's their card. Are you serious? So apparently the FBI was on to me. All right. So that's fine. This looks like a fake card. I'm not even going to call him. I'm not even call him. gonna call the FBI when they come knocking on my door and leave a card. So, however, I did evade them for a few months. They did come to my door in February, but I evaded them till, August, whatever. So they finally got me at my house, because I'm always there. All I do is go to work and come home, go to work and come home. Like, I'm not hard to find. I figured if the FBI really, really wants me, they know where to find me. So sure enough, they came back to my house and I said, "Sir, can't you put my case at the bottom of your file?" He said, "I've been doing this for months." I was like, all right, that's fine. So sure enough, they got us. We were there. There's no denying it. We were there. Did we walk in and walk out? Absolutely. Absolutely. The matter of the fact is that we were persecuted under a system that should not be allowed in this country.
That's right.
All right? We actually need to make change to the system that is in our country. I never would have known this if I didn't go through it. I actually went through it and I have never seen anything like it. I am appalled by our justice system right now. Disgusted. Okay? And it is going to take us to fix it. Okay? We have to come together as a team. Every single one of us. Every single one of us. And we gotta pull people in from the other side and say, hey, we are willing to work together because you know what? Now we do realize there is a problem. All right? We know now there's a problem. So come together to fix it, right? All right. The justice system, horrible. Judges are on the tape right there. They literally are doing what they are told to do, okay? Prosecutors? All right, so my prosecutor that was on my case, she had to resign. Joke's on her. I still got my job. All right? So, let me tell you about prison. I had to go to prison for 4 months. Why? Because I stood up to the justice system. And I said, I'm not guilty. And I took the stand. And they said when I took the stand, I was lying. Why? Because they didn't want to believe the narrative that I was saying.
2-point enhancement.
Literally, I went to prison because they didn't like what I had to say. Which is horrible because I was saying the truth. So, that's fine. I went to prison. When I got to prison, my cellmate was there on a double life sentence for murder. With a bipolar disorder. Okay? Look. That's great. So, I put up with that for like a month and a half. And then I was like, counselor, I need to change cells. Like, I can't deal with this lady anymore. Like, this is great, but not great. I know I'm only here for a short time, but like, I think I have to move. And then I did have a J6er in my unit. So we had units, right? And she wanted to get a cell with me. She was like, look, I'll move cells. We can be cellmates. I was like, that's great. All right, fantastic. Took her to the counselor. Counselor said, no, you guys have similar charges. You can't room together. And I said, what? He said, this is coming from up above. This isn't even my decision. You have to go somewhere else. And I was like, wait a minute. Wait a wait a minute. So he put me in the room with a pedophile. That's great. That's fantastic. I mean, maybe it's better than the bipolar murder that I was in the cell with. I really don't know. We're gonna play this out and see how it works out. Unfortunately, the pedophile was better than the bipolar murderer that I was with. But luckily, I was only there for 4 months. You know, had I been there for a long time, it would have been torture, because the people there in the prison knew I didn't belong there. You know, and the support that I had from the actual prisoners was kind of crazy. You know, Trump has a lot of support in the prisons that we don't even realize. You know, why? Because nobody likes the government. Nope. Let's get this straight. Nobody actually likes the government. So, look, it was still a struggle. Every day was a struggle. I mean, you are in a place where there's real criminals, and you know, you have women that are fighting each other. I mean, there was stabbings while I was there, and every single thing that happens, you get put on lockdown. You're on lockdown for days, and it's not good. You know, the biggest thing I got in trouble for was having too many books in my cell. All right? Look, how do you have too many books when you're locked down for days at a time? Why? And look, taking salt and pepper to the cafeteria because they don't salt and pepper the food really shouldn't be a violation. Okay? But those are real things. They're real things. And so let me bring it back to reality, where we are actually like defunding these prisons. There are real women that are locked up in these prisons that, like, my first cellmate, she had been there for 25 years. I made friends with another woman, had been there for 24 years, okay? I can't even imagine that, okay? It was bad, and these women have completely changed from who they were when they got there to who they are now. And there really needs to be serious justice reform. And we have to do something, okay? Did they do something bad? Yes, maybe, possibly, absolutely. But do they need to be there for that long? Like, can we have a process to get people out? Like, what is it gonna take? What? All right? You have us involved. You have our attention. So let's work together to make some change. I don't know. I want to thank you guys for being here. It was an absolute honor to stand up here and speak. I'm happy to be with my fellow J6ers. We tried to overthrow the government. Apparently we failed. We'll do better next time.